The echoes of laughter still lingered in the air, mingling with the soft clinking of champagne glasses. The night was perfect, a grand celebration of my birthday, filled with family, friends, and the warm hum of conversation. It was everything a birthday should be, a reflection of a life well lived. Or so I thought. In the midst of the joyous evening, she stepped forward. My wife, the woman I had trusted, cherished, and built a life with. There was something in her eyes, a glint of mischief that sent an unspoken warning through my veins. She held a small, neatly wrapped box in her hands, raising it for everyone to see. A special gift for you, she announced, her voice carrying a strange edge. I smiled, masking the sudden unease creeping into my gut. Something felt off. The way she grinned, the way some guests exchanged nervous glances. But I played along, unwrapping the gift as the crowd watched in silent anticipation. The ribbon slipped away, the lid lifted, and inside lay a crisp, unassuming envelope. My fingers trembled slightly as I unfolded the paper. My eyes scanned the words, but the world around me had already begun to shift. My breath caught. My heart pounded so fiercely I could hear it in my ears. A DNA test. Probability of paternity, 0%. The room seemed to freeze. The weight of those cold, printed numbers hit me like a bullet to the ribs, a blade straight through my spine. I blinked, hoping, praying that I had read it wrong. But the ink on the paper didn't lie. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. My mother clutched her chest. My best friend cursed under his breath. Somewhere in the back, someone let out a nervous chuckle, unsure if this was some elaborate joke. And then my eyes found him. The boy I had raised, the child I had cradled, soothed to sleep, taught to ride a bike. His small face was riddled with confusion, his innocent gaze darting between me and his mother. He didn't understand. Of course he didn't. He was just a child, not mine. A storm raged inside me. Rage, heartbreak, betrayal, humiliation, an unbearable grief clawed at my insides. But I did not scream. I did not break. Instead, I smiled. I nodded. With a steady hand, I placed the paper back in the box, closed it, and set it down on the table. Lifting my whiskey glass, I took a slow, deliberate sip, my gaze never leaving my wife's face. She was still smirking, basking in what she believed to be her victory, waiting for me to explode, to crumble in front of everyone. She wanted chaos. She wanted destruction. She would get neither. Thank you, I said, my voice so calm, so steady it sent a flicker of doubt across her expression. The room held its breath, waiting for the storm that never came. I adjusted my cufflinks, leaned in slightly, and whispered just for her, I appreciate the honesty. Her smirk faltered, the confidence in her eyes wavered. She had planned for my fury, my devastation, my public undoing, but she had not planned for this. She hadn't planned for my silence. She hadn't planned for my patience. Because she thought she was in control? What she didn't know, what she could never have predicted, was that I had known all along. That DNA test, that little gift she so triumphantly handed me, I had received it months ago. I had already grieved, raged, and broken in the privacy of my own pain. By the time she delivered her grand revelation, I had already rebuilt myself from the ashes. She thought this was her move. She had no idea I had already set the board. As I stared at her, watching as realization began to creep into her features, her lips parted. What are you planning? She whispered, unease finally seeping into her voice. I tilted my head, smiled. You'll see. And then I walked away, leaving her standing there, the queen of a crumbling kingdom. The crowd still whispered, the weight of what had just happened pressing heavily in the air. But I gave them nothing more, no anger, no heartbreak, just quiet, calculated resolve. That night she slept soundly, wrapped in the illusion of her triumph, curled under the warmth of our expensive Egyptian cotton sheets. She thought she had won. She thought she had stripped me of my dignity, reduced me to nothing in front of our friends, our family, the world. She had no idea. The game had only just begun. I sat awake in the dim glow of my laptop screen, watching as the wheels of my plan turned into motion. She had no idea. She never saw it coming. While she stood in the spotlight at my birthday party, believing she had orchestrated my humiliation, I had been waiting for this moment. I had seen the cracks in our marriage long before she handed me that box. The distance, the secrecy, the late night phone calls with friends she had never mentioned before. It had all been there. I noticed the way she guarded her phone, the calculated shift in her demeanor, the eerie confidence she carried like a loaded weapon. So I did what she never expected. I stayed quiet. I played along, and while she reveled in her reckless delusion, I prepared. Months before that night, I had hired a private investigator. I followed the trails she thought were erased, uncovered every dirty little secret she believed was buried. By the time she decided to pull her grand stunt, I already knew. I knew about the affair. I knew about the man she had betrayed me for. I had seen the hotel bookings, the whispered calls, the money transfers she assumed would go unnoticed. By the time she had her moment of triumph, she was already standing on a crumbling foundation. She just didn't know it yet. At exactly 4 a.m., I made my move. A few clicks and her life began unraveling before she even opened her eyes. First, the evidence meticulously compiled and sent to a very specific group of people. Her boss, a man known for his zero-tolerance policy on workplace scandals. Her family's group chat, ensuring her mother, father, and sisters would wake up to the truth. Our closest friends, especially the ones she had bragged to about how easily she controlled me. And finally, the most poetic touch, her lover's wife. Yes, the man she had risked everything for was married, and now she was about to find out in the worst way possible. Step 2, the financial chokehold. Weeks before this night, I had already made adjustments, carefully withdrawing from our joint accounts, setting up legal barriers that ensured she got nothing. A hidden financial bomb ready to detonate at the push of a button. With a final transaction, all the money was moved, her credit cards canceled, her savings emptied. Every resource she had counted on now locked away. She had assumed control because I let her spend freely, never realizing that I had been reclaiming everything that mattered. By morning, she would wake up not just exposed, but broke, confused, and utterly powerless. Step 3, erasure. I logged into our home security system and wiped her digital access. The house she had once strutted through like a queen, no longer hers. Her phone wiped. The secret email she had used to coordinate her affair, hacked and deleted. By the time she woke up, she wouldn't just be humiliated, she would be erased. And for the final touch, I scheduled a single text to be sent at exactly 7 a.m. From an unknown number, it would read, "Did you really think he didn't know?" She would spend the morning spiraling, paranoid, questioning everyone around her. She had spent months deceiving me, but now the tables had turned. Now she would be the one drowning in doubt, unsure who had betrayed her first. The first light of morning crept through the curtains as I closed my laptop. The city outside hummed, birds chirped, and beside me my wife slept soundly, blissfully unaware that her world was mere seconds from crumbling. I glanced at the clock. 6:59 a.m. 1 minute, 60 seconds, and then it began. Her phone buzzed violently on the nightstand, vibrating against the wood in a frantic rhythm. She groaned, half asleep, blindly reaching for it. "Oh, who the hell is calling this early?" she muttered, squinting at the screen. And then her face froze. From the doorway, I stood watching, coffee in hand, arms crossed. I witnessed the exact moment she realized everything had fallen apart. Her fingers tightened around the phone as she scrolled, breaths sharp and uneven. Her expression twisted, from confusion to shock to something I had never seen before. Raw, unfiltered panic. What the hell is this?" she whispered, clicking on another notification. Then another, and another. The messages poured in like an avalanche. Her boss, "We need to talk immediately." Her mother, "How could you do this?" Her best friend, Rachel, what the actual F? Her lover's wife. You ruined my family, now watch yours burn. Her hands trembled as she scrolled faster, desperately trying to piece together the disaster unfolding before her, and then she clicked the video. That was when she screamed. The video that shattered her had already spread like wildfire, circulating across social media, forwarded by friends, enemies, and complete strangers alike. It began with the footage from my birthday party, the moment she handed me the box, her triumphant smirk, the gleeful way she announced, "Thought you should know." Then the video cut to me, my face unreadable, my eerie calm, the chilling silence that followed. And then my response, "Thank you. I appreciate the honesty." The internet devoured it. The captions wrote themselves. Wife humiliates husband at birthday party, but he already knew. The comment section was relentless. She really thought she was untouchable, huh? Nah, this man is too calm. He's about to ruin her life, and I'm here for it. The way he just smiled, bro is a villain. I respect it. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, the second half of the video played. Screenshots, messages, hotel receipts, evidence of her affair displayed for the world to see, the name of the man she had risked everything for, exposed. Every rendezvous, every lie, every whisper. Her betrayal had been public. Now, so was her downfall. I sat in the dim glow of my laptop screen, watching my plan unfold. She never saw it coming. She thought she was careful, that her secrets were buried deep, but I had been watching. The late night calls, the hushed whispers, the guarded phone. It all painted a picture long before she handed me that box at my own birthday party. She thought she had won. She thought I was blind. But what she didn't realize was that I had been waiting for this moment. While she played her reckless little game, I played the long one. I had a private investigator months before she even suspected anything. I had gathered every secret, every lie, every betrayal she thought was hidden. So when she smirked at me in front of our friends and dropped her bombshell, she had no idea that the real explosion was already set in motion. At exactly 4 a.m., I initiated phase 1. A few clicks, and her world began to unravel before she even opened her eyes. Evidence, cold, undeniable, was sent to the right people. Her boss, her family, her closest friends, and most importantly, the wife of the man she had risked it all for. Oh yes, the man she threw away our marriage for was married himself. She had no clue, but she was about to find out. Next came the financial chokehold. Weeks of preparation had led to this moment. Our joint account, drained. Her credit cards, canceled. Her savings, frozen. She had been living in a dream where she held all the control, but when she woke up, reality would hit like a freight train. Then the final touch, erasing her digital presence. Her phone access, gone. Her emails, deleted. Even the security system at home no longer recognized her. She would wake up not just exposed, but powerless. And just before sunrise, one last message was scheduled to be delivered. Did you really think he didn't know? Just a simple anonymous text. But it was enough. Enough to send her spiraling into paranoia, questioning everyone around her. As the clock hit 6:59 a.m., I took a sip of my coffee and waited. 1 minute, 60 seconds until the first notification shattered her peace, and then her phone buzzed. Then again, and again. What followed was pure destruction. The look on her face as she scrolled through message after message, shock, fear, panic, her boss demanding a meeting, her mother horrified, her best friend speechless. And then the final blow, the video, the one that was already circulating online, the one that showed her gloating, handing me that box, thinking she had humiliated me. But the world saw the truth. They saw the messages, the receipts, the whispered betrayals. And at the very end, the part that shattered whatever was left of her defense, a clip of our son, his small, broken voice whispering, "Mom, why did you lie to Dad?" That was when she dropped the phone. That was when she realized she wasn't the victim. She was the villain. And it was only the beginning. Rachel's breath hitched. She looked at me, her eyes wild with desperation. I I know you're angry. I get it. I hurt you and I held up a finger, cutting her off. Her lips snapped shut. She swallowed hard, her body tense as I tilted my head and spoke slowly. Rachel, how much money do you have in your account right now? A flicker of panic crossed her face. What? What you whispered? I smiled. Go ahead, check. Her fingers hovered over her phone, hesitant, afraid of what she might see. But she had to know. She tapped her banking app, and as the numbers loaded, the color drained from her face. Her mouth fell open in horror. Where is my money? She stammered, clicking frantically. Where? I took another slow sip of coffee. It's gone. She blinked, shook her head as if she had misheard me. Gee, gone, drained, locked, frozen, I said, casually swirling my cup. Her breathing turned shallow. You can't do that. Oh, but I can, I said with a shrug. And I did. She scrambled through her apps, checking her credit cards, declined, her savings, empty, her investments, frozen. Her hands began to shake. No, 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 no. This can't be happening. Oh, but it is, I said, watching as realization hit her like a freight train. She staggered back onto the couch, clutching her phone like a lifeline that had just snapped. Tears welled in her eyes. But this time, they weren't for me. They were for herself. Rachel had spent years believing she was in control. She spent money freely, made choices recklessly, treated me like an afterthought. She thought I was just the stable husband in the background, the man who would always be there. She thought she was untouchable. What she never realized was that her entire life was built on my foundation. The house, not in her name. The car, leased under my company. The credit cards, approved under my accounts. The investments, managed by me. Rachel had never been in control. I was. And now she was learning that the hard way. Her body trembled as she looked up at me, desperation creeping into her expression. This isn't fair, she whispered. I let out a short, cold laugh. Fair, I echoed. You had a family, you had stability, you had a man who would have done anything for you, and you threw it all away. For what? A thrill? She opened her mouth, but I wasn't finished. Fair isn't a game you get to play anymore, Rachel. Her bottom lip quivered. Please, Daniel, I need something. I can't be left with nothing. You should have thought about that before, I said. Her shoulders slumped. The fight drained out of her. Because, for the first time, she understood. There was no escape. No last-minute fix. No miracle coming to save her. She had played herself, and now she was paying the price. I let the silence stretch, let the weight of her ruin settle over her like a suffocating blanket. Then, for the final blow, I slid an envelope onto the table. She flinched. What is that? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. I smirked. Your exit plan. Her trembling fingers reached for it. She pulled out the contents, and as her eyes scanned the documents inside, I saw it, the last flicker of hope die in her eyes. A one-way plane ticket, a lease termination notice for the house, a financial settlement proposal, bare minimum. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked up at me in disbelief. You're kicking me out? I nodded. You have 1 week to pack your things. After that, I want you gone. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. And then she broke. She sobbed, harder than I had ever seen before, because now she understood. Her old life, over. Her money, gone. Her reputation, destroyed. And I was free. I turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. You know what the worst part is? I asked. She sniffled, looking up at me with red, swollen eyes. I met her gaze, my expression unreadable. I actually loved you. And with that, I walked away, because this was never about revenge. This was about justice. Rachel sat there, motionless, gripping the envelope like it was the last thing tethering her to reality. She had no money, no control, no way out. But what she didn't know What she still hadn't fully grasped was that this wasn't rock bottom, not yet. That was coming next. Because while she was busy trying to catch her breath, trying to comprehend how her carefully constructed world had just crumbled overnight, the rest of the world was watching and judging and tearing her apart. Her phone buzzed. She flinched, staring at the screen like it might explode. The caller ID made her blood run cold. Her boss. For a moment, she hesitated, as if ignoring the call would make the inevitable disappear. But she had no choice. With shaking hands, she picked up. "Rachel." Her boss's voice was cold. "I assume you already know why I'm calling." Her throat went dry. I don't. A heavy sigh. "You need to come in. We have a situation." Panic surged through her. What kind of situation?" A pause. Then, "Your name is everywhere, Rachel. We can't have someone like you representing this company." Her blood turned to ice. "No, wait, please." Another sigh. "We'll discuss your termination package when you get here." The line went dead. Rachel's phone slipped from her fingers and hit the floor. She had just lost her job? Before she could even process what had just happened, her phone rang again. Her mother. Rachel hesitated. She knew what was coming. With a deep, shaky breath, she picked up. "Mom, please, it's not what it looks like." "Not what it looks like?" her mother snapped. "Rachel, what have you done?" Her lips quivered. I can explain." "No, you can't. Do you have any idea what you've put this family through? Your father is mortified. Your aunts, your uncles, everyone is talking about you." "Mom, please, You've disgraced this family, Rachel." A single sob escaped her lips. Her mother's voice was cold, final. "I hope it was worth it." The line went dead. Rachel stared at her phone, hands shaking, and in that moment she realized there was nothing left to lose. But rock bottom? It was still waiting for her. Rachel woke up to the sound of her phone vibrating relentlessly on her nightstand. Groggy and disoriented, she reached for it, only to be met with a barrage of missed calls and messages. Before she could even process what was happening, her phone rang again. Her best friend. She hesitated before answering. "Have you seen it?" The urgency in her friend's voice made Rachel's stomach drop. "Seen what?" she whispered. "Your affair. It's everywhere. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is for us?" The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Tears welled in her eyes. No more excuses, Rachel," her friend snapped. "You ruined your family, you destroyed your marriage, you humiliated Daniel, and now you've dragged all of us into it." Rachel wiped at her tears. You didn't mean to get caught." Her mother's voice suddenly cut through the line, bitter and sharp. Rachel's breath hitched. "Mom, please." "No, Rachel, enough. You are not welcome in this house." Rachel froze, her heart pounding. "Mom, no, please don't say that." Click, the line went dead. Her stomach twisted into a knot. Just like that, her own family had abandoned her. But this was only the beginning. The internet never forgets. With shaking hands, she opened her laptop, desperate for some kind of control, some way to make sense of what was happening. The moment the screen loaded, she instantly wished she hadn't. Her name was trending everywhere. Rachel Carter exposed. Wife destroys husband at birthday gets wrecked in return. This cheating story just broke the internet. Headlines after headlines, post after post, millions of views, comments dissecting every detail of her betrayal. And then she saw it. The video, the one where she humiliated me at my own birthday party. She clicked on it, and there she was, laughing, smug, believing she had all the power. It had millions of views. She scrolled down. Screenshots of her texts with her lover, shared for the world to see. People were analyzing her every move, tearing her apart in comment sections on podcasts and viral memes. And then, the worst part, she heard her own voice. "He's so stupid, he'll never find out. And even if he does, what's he going to do? Cry about it? Pathetic." The recording played over and over again, reposted across every platform. Rachel gasped, covering her mouth with both hands, as if she could physically stop the words from being real. She had been so cocky, so arrogant. Now the world hated her. The comments were ruthless. She deserves everything coming her way. Daniel is a legend. The way he stayed calm, that's a man who already won. Hope she enjoys being jobless and single. She destroyed herself, and I love to see it. She kept scrolling, her vision blurring with tears, and then her breath caught in her throat. A petition, a real, actual petition. 500, 0, 0 signatures, and climbing. No, 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 she whispered. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be her life now. She slammed the laptop shut, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. She had to do something, anything. With trembling hands, she grabbed her phone and dialed the only number she had left. Her lover, the one person who surely still had her back. It rang, and rang, and rang, and then... Hello? His voice was calm, emotionless. Relief surged through her. Oh my God, thank God you picked up. Baby, I need your help. Everything is falling apart. Rachel, he interrupted. Don't call me again. Her mouth went dry. What? He sighed. I can't be associated with you. Her stomach dropped. But you said you loved me. I said a lot of things, he replied flatly. But I have a family to protect. Tears streamed down her face. Please, please don't do this to me. A pause. And then, you did this to yourself. Click. Rachel stared at her phone, fingers numb. He had abandoned her, the man she risked everything for, the one who had promised her love, passion, excitement. He had used her. And now, when she needed him the most, he was gone. Her last safety net had just snapped. She was completely, utterly alone. Her legs gave out, she sank to the floor, her whole body trembling as the weight of it all came crashing down on her. She had nothing, no money, no job, no home, no friends, no family. She was the most hated woman on the internet. And there was no coming back from this. A hollow, broken laugh escaped her lips. Just yesterday, she thought she had everything. Now she was nothing, and outside, the world kept turning without her. I stood in the doorway, watching her. She didn't even look up. Her phone lay discarded on the floor beside her, forgotten. The reality of her exile had fully sunk in. She wasn't crying anymore. The tears had dried. Now there was only emptiness. Get up, I said calmly. She didn't move. I sighed, stepping further into the room. Rachel? Slowly she blinked, her eyes dull, lifeless. I exhaled. I'm not here to drag this out. Pack your things and leave. Her lips parted. Daniel? I said nothing. She sniffled. I don't have anywhere to go. That's not my problem. She winced as if the words physically hurt her. But wasn't this what she had wanted? To be free? To do whatever she wanted with whoever she wanted without consequences? Well, now she was free. And for the first time she realized freedom had never been the prize. It had always been the cost. She played this game like she was untouchable. She gambled our life, our family, our future for a cheap thrill. And now she was just another cautionary tale. Her fingers trembled as she reached for my hand. Please don't do this, she whispered. I looked down at her, completely unmoved. You did this, I reminded her. She shook her head frantically. But I didn't mean... I pulled my hand away before she could finish. I don't care what you meant, I said simply. I only care about what you did. Her face twisted, her breath shuddering. Daniel, please. I can't do this alone. I tilted my head. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you threw everything away. A choked sob escaped her lips. I was stupid, okay? I was selfish. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I stayed silent. She stared up at me, eyes pleading. Just give me one more chance. I sighed, then bent down to meet her gaze. And in the calmest voice I had ever spoken, I told her the truth. Rachel, I gave you everything, my love, my trust, my loyalty. I built a life with you. I never once looked at another woman because, to me, you were it. Her chin wobbled. And do you know what you did with that love? I continued, my voice steady, cold. You spat on it. You laughed about it. You mocked me, humiliated me, and thought I was too weak to ever leave you. She shook her head, eyes wide, but I wasn't done. You didn't just cheat on me, I said. You played me. You made me believe I had a son that was mine. You robbed me of years I will never get back, and for what? She had no answer, because there was no answer. Just selfishness, just greed, just Rachel being Rachel. I exhaled slowly and stood up. I want you gone by the end of the day. Her mouth fell open. But you said a week. I changed my mind. I turned to leave, but before stepping out, I gave her one last truth. You're his responsibility now. Her breath hitched. What? I didn't turn around. You threw away a husband, a family, a home. For him, I said. So let's see if he wants to clean up your mess. And with that, I left her sitting there, completely, utterly ruined. The house was eerily quiet after that. I stayed in my study for the next few hours, making calls, tying up loose ends. I knew she wouldn't try anything. Not after everything. She was defeated. By mid-afternoon, I heard the sound of suitcases dragging down the stairs. Good, she was finally leaving. Stepping out of my study, I saw her at the front door, bags lined up beside her. She wasn't looking at me, just staring at the house, the home she once ruled like a queen, the home she threw away, the home she was never coming back to. A twisted part of me wanted her to say something, to beg one last time, to try to explain herself. But she didn't. She just wiped her face, squared her shoulders, reached for the door handle, and then she was gone. No grand exit, no dramatic final words, just silence. And for the first time in years, the house felt peaceful. That evening, I sat alone in the living room, sipping whiskey, staring out into the night, and for the first time since this all started, I let myself breathe. She was gone for good, and I felt nothing. Not relief, not grief, not anger, just clarity. The storm had passed, and now it was time to start over, without her. The house was finally quiet. No sound of her voice, no footsteps, no fake laughter she used to disguise her lies. Just peace. I swirled the whiskey in my glass, staring at the space where she once stood, where she once existed in my life. It was strange how something that once felt permanent could become a fading memory overnight. Rachel was gone, and I wasn't sad, not even a little. In fact, as I leaned back and took a slow sip of my drink, I realized something. I had never felt this free. The next morning, I woke up later than usual, well rested for the first time in months. The weight of betrayal had lifted from my chest, replaced by something much lighter, satisfaction. I grabbed my phone and checked the latest updates. And there she was, still trending. The internet had moved fast. Rachel had become an online legend, but not in the way she wanted. The infamous birthday betrayal video had hit millions of views overnight. People were dissecting every detail. My reaction, her smirk, the way the crowd gasped when she said, "Surprise, thought you should know." One of the top comments read, "She thought she was the main character. Turns out she was the villain in someone else's story." Another, "Daniel played the long game and won." I respect it. And my favorite, the way he just smiled. That's the look of a man who already set the trap and was waiting for it to close. I chuckled. They weren't wrong. Then I saw the news articles. Disgraced woman faces internet backlash after viral cheating scandal. Rachel Carter loses job, home, and family in brutal public exposure. Once a respected executive, now a cautionary tale. I tapped on one of the articles, scrolling through. Apparently, Rachel had tried to go to work the previous day, only to be turned away immediately. Her employer had officially cut all ties with her, citing conduct that conflicts with company values, severance package revoked, career over, personal life, a disaster. Reports had surfaced that she tried to stay with friends and family, but none of them wanted anything to do with her. And her lover, nowhere to be found. No money, no job, no reputation. She was officially nothing. I let out a slow breath. The internet never forgets. And she would never escape this. Later that day, I went out for the first time since everything happened. Walked into my favorite coffee shop, the same one I had visited every morning for years. This time, people recognized me. Conversations hushed as I stepped inside. People glanced at me, nudging each other, whispering. Then a man near the counter grinned, raising his coffee cup. "You're the guy, right?" I raised an eyebrow. "Which guy?" His eyes widened. "The birthday guy." I chuckled. "Yeah, that's me." The entire coffee shop erupted into cheers. Someone clapped me on the back. A woman in line gave me a knowing nod. A group of guys whispered among themselves before one of them yelled, "Legend." It was surreal. For the first time in weeks, I laughed. Not out of bitterness, not out of exhaustion, just pure, genuine amusement. Rachel thought she was writing my downfall. Instead, she wrote my comeback story. That evening, as I was finishing some work, my phone buzzed. A new email from Rachel. I stared at it for a moment. My chest tightened slightly, but not in the way it used to when I saw her name. There was no pain anymore, just curiosity. The subject line read, "I'm sorry." I opened it. The body was short. "Daniel, I know I don't deserve a response. I know I don't deserve anything from you after what I did, but I just wanted to say that I was wrong about everything. I lost my job, my friends, my family, everything, and I have no one to blame but myself. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I regret everything and that I hope one day you find someone who actually deserves you. Goodbye." I read it twice. And then, without a second thought, I deleted it because I didn't need an apology. I had already moved on. Months passed. The scandal faded. People moved on, and so did I. One evening, as I sat at a rooftop bar, enjoying the warm summer air, a woman walked past my table, confident, beautiful. She caught my eye and smiled. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled back. Because I wasn't the man Rachel had left behind, I was the man she never deserved. And my real story was just beginning.